Surely you have heard many people say that putting salt in your shoes will bring unexpected results. Why is that? Is it because salt has special powers? Or is it just a habit, a belief custom of some country? Or could this be a teaching of the Buddha, a spiritually significant act? And finally, does this action really have a scientific basis? So today, we will analyze and dissect all aspects of this issue together. Let's find out whether putting salt in shoes is just a superstitious custom, or if there is actually a surprising truth behind it that we have never known. The origin and meaning of putting salt in shoes first. Let's take a look back at history. In many cultures, salt has long been considered a sacred object. Did you know that salt is not only used for seasoning in meals, but also has a very special significance? It is considered something that has the ability to purify, ward off negative energy, and protect people from misfortune. Therefore, many people believe that putting salt in their shoes will help protect them from risks, especially when embarking on a new journey. Putting salt in shoes will bring surprises, superstition, or reality. However, if you think about it carefully, does putting salt in your shoes really bring good luck? Is this a folk belief? Or is it simply a habit of those who like to find ways to feel more at ease? Actually, if you look at it from a psychological perspective, this action might just be a way to create expectations, a belief that makes you feel like you are doing something good to protect yourself. And if we talk about science, we certainly cannot find any practical reason to prove that salt can bring good luck or help people win at the casino. But there is an interesting thing. This very belief can bring confidence, and from there help you act more confidently, regardless of the outcome. Putting salt in your shoes will bring an unexpected surprise. What is the law of cause and effect and the teachings of the Buddha? If we look at it from a Buddhist perspective, we will see an important point. Buddhism teaches that everything is a result of cause and effect, meaning you reap what you sow. Good deeds and positive thoughts will lead to good outcomes. In Buddhism, one of the most important principles is karma, also known as you reap what you sow. This means that our actions, words, and thoughts in the past will create results in the future. However, for the cause to bear fruit, it is not only the cause factor that is needed, but also another important factor, which is condition. This is called the cause and effect relationship. To explain further, you can imagine that sowing corn seeds will yield corn plants, which is a simple and correct theory. However, for those corn seeds to develop into healthy plants and bear full fruit, we need sufficient conditions. The condition here refers to the necessary supporting factors for the development of the seeds. For example, proper care. You must fertilize and water adequately, using the correct methods. If this factor is lacking, the corn seeds may not develop or may only develop weakly. Environmental conditions. The weather is also an important factor. If faced with adverse weather conditions, such as heavy rain or intense sunlight, it can cause misfortune, making it difficult for the corn seeds to germinate or develop properly. Soil quality. If you sow corn seeds in barren, nutrient-deficient soil, those seeds will struggle to germinate, even if you have followed all the proper care steps. Thus, the cause is the seed that we sow, but the conditions are the surrounding factors that help that seed grow. If there are not enough conditions, no matter how good the seeds we plant, the results may still not meet our expectations. In life as well, our good actions, good deeds, will bring good results. But if there is a lack of conditions, such as favorable circumstances, help from others, or a supportive environment, then the results may not be fully as desired. That is why in Buddhism, besides focusing on creating good deeds, we also need to create favorable conditions, harmonize with the environment and surrounding factors to help the fruits of karma manifest beautifully. Therefore, putting salt in shoes in hopes of good luck, is it in line with the spirit of cause and effect? If viewed from this perspective, we can see that instead of believing in a ritual or superstitious custom, Buddhism encourages us to act with compassion, morality, and a pure heart. It is the kind and virtuous actions that truly bring about good results, not rituals or objects. The surprise behind this action. Ultimately, if you look at everything objectively, You can see that putting salt in shoes is not the decisive factor in bringing good luck or changing one's fate. But it has a deeper meaning. It is faith. It is the expectation of good things. And if that belief helps you act more strongly and confidently in life, then perhaps that is exactly the surprise that this action brings. The origin and significance of putting salt in shoes in various cultures. We can start with a simple question. Why does salt have such special power? Basically, salt has long been considered a very important element in many cultures, not only used for preserving food or as a seasoning. Salt is also considered to have the ability to ward off evil spirits, purify spaces, and protect people from negative energies. 1. Western culture, salt and protection from evil spirits. Let's start with a Western culture. Especially in countries like the United States and England, if you pay attention, there are many folk tales, especially in movies or legends, that always mention salt as an item to ward off evil spirits. There is a quite famous saying, salt can protect you from evil spirits. So, why is there such a belief? In fact, salt is considered a substance capable of cleansing and purifying negative energy. In ancient times, people often put a little salt in their bags or shoes, hoping it would protect them from misfortune and help them maintain peace. Even some people believe that sprinkling salt around the house can ward off bad luck. This is also the reason why you see in horror movies, salt is always a weapon to deal with supernatural forces. 2. Asian culture, salt and purification. If we turn to Asian culture, specifically in countries like Japan or China, salt is also considered something very important. In feng shui, salt is a symbol of purification and protection. In Japan, people often sprinkle salt on themselves after participating in rituals, or when they want to purify negative energy. Even in traditional martial arts, salt is used to purify and protect the spirit. A specific example is in Japanese festivals, such as the Shinto festival, where salt is used to purify the space before important rituals begin. Just like in the West, the Japanese believe that salt helps protect and keeps the spirit in the best state. 3. Eastern culture, protection from misfortune. In Vietnam, China, and Southeast Asian countries, salt is also used as a means to ward off misfortune. Perhaps you have heard of people sprinkling salt around the door of their house, or even putting a bit of salt in their shoes when going far away. This is not just a custom, but also reflects the belief that salt can protect you from misfortunes that may occur during the trip. In Vietnam, there are sayings like, there is a spirit in worship, and there is safety in avoidance. And salt is considered one of the items that can help people avoid misfortunes. When putting salt in shoes, people believe that this will protect them from accidents and unwanted risks throughout the journey. 4. Teachings from cultures, salt as a spiritual symbol. From the above examples, we can see that salt is not merely a household item, but it also carries profound spiritual value in many cultures. Salt not only provides physical protection, but also spiritual protection, driving away negative energies, helping people feel more peaceful and confident. So, through all these things, we see that putting salt in shoes, although a custom, has deep significance in each culture. It is not just an act to ward off bad luck, but also a way for us to protect our souls, feel at peace, and become stronger when facing challenges. That is why this custom is present in many places around the world, and each place has a different explanation for it. But no matter where it is, salt still carries an undeniable spiritual value, doesn't it? We have explored the spiritual and cultural significance of putting salt in shoes. But is there a scientific angle behind this action? The literal meaning and scientific perspective of putting salt in shoes. When it comes to putting salt in shoes, from a scientific perspective, this can be understood as an action related to the physical and chemical properties of salt. Did you know that salt can help absorb moisture and regulate the surrounding environment? Therefore, in some cases, salt can help dry shoes or reduce unpleasant odors, especially when the shoes are damp or have an unpleasant smell. 2. The chemical properties of salt when put into shoes. Salt, specifically table salt, NaCl, has some interesting chemical properties that might be effective when put into shoes. A moisture absorption. Salt has a very strong ability to absorb water. When you put salt in your shoes, the salt will absorb the moisture in the shoes, helping to dry them quickly, especially on rainy days or when you wear the shoes for a long time and your feet sweat. This is why many people use salt to dry objects or keep them dry. Odor control. Salt has deodorizing properties because it can kill bacteria and fungi, the main factors causing unpleasant odors in shoes. When salt comes into contact with bacteria in shoes, it can inhibit their growth, helping to reduce odor. Ability to absorb toxins. Another feature of salt is its ability to absorb certain harmful substances or impurities. If you put salt in your shoes, it can help remove some impurities and clean the shoes naturally. However, this effect may not be obvious and cannot be compared to specialized products like deodorizing powder. 3. The quantity and shape of the salt when put into the shoes. So, if you want to experiment and see the effects that salt can bring to your shoes, you need to pay attention to some factors regarding the dosage and shape of the salt. A dosage, you don't need to put too much salt in the shoes. Usually, a sufficient amount of salt to evenly cover the inside of the shoe or to place in a small cloth bag, like a filter bag, is enough. About 1 to 2 teaspoons of salt for each shoe is enough to have a moisture-absorbing and deodorizing effect. If too much is added, the salt can cause irritation or make the shoes uncomfortable, especially if not controlled properly. A shape of the salt. You can use coarse salt, sea salt, or refined salt, or fine salt, depending on the intended use. Coarse salt can easily be placed in a small cloth bag and put inside shoes, preventing the salt from spilling out. Fine salt can quickly absorb moisture, but it is more prone to spilling and harder to control. 4. Some notes when using salt in shoes. Check the shoes first, before putting salt in the shoes. You need to make sure that your shoes are not too damp or damaged. If the shoes have been wet for too long, salt can help absorb moisture. But if the shoes are rotten or damaged, salt will have no effect and may even further damage the shoe material. Do not overuse. Although salt has many benefits, it should not be used too frequently or left in shoes for too long, as salt can dry out the shoe leather or material, especially if your shoes are made from genuine leather. Remember to replace the salt after a few hours and only leave it in the shoes when necessary. Thus, from a scientific perspective, putting salt in shoes can indeed have effects such as drying the shoes, reducing odor, and protecting the shoes from bacteria. However, this effect is not a miracle that brings good luck as many people believe. It is merely a scientific application of salt in dealing with moisture and odor removal. Finally, we have to ask the question, if putting salt in shoes really brings good luck as many people believe, then why don't we see Westerners, especially Americans, frequently putting salt in their shoes every time they go to the casino to try their luck? If that were a guaranteed way to win big, then perhaps they would all be billionaires by now. But what is the truth? You have also seen clearly that salt is not the determining factor in bringing wealth or success. Therefore, putting salt in shoes, although it may carry customary or spiritual significance in each country and each ethnic group, ultimately serves only two main purposes. It helps to purify, protect, and deodorize according to folk beliefs and culture, as well as the physical and chemical properties of salt. We all respect those customs and beliefs, as they reflect the cultural and spiritual diversity of each community. However, the most important thing to affirm is that putting salt in shoes is not a teaching of the Buddha and is not a principle in Buddhism, whether taken literally or metaphorically. Buddhism teaches about understanding, wisdom, and practice to attain liberation from suffering, not relying on customs or superstitions to seek good fortune. Therefore, we need to view the issue with clarity and not let these beliefs obscure the true values in life, and avoid misunderstanding them as the teachings of the Buddha. In Eastern culture, there is a very familiar saying, in the house, there must always be enough rice, enough salt, enough water. This is not only a teaching about abundance in life, but also carries a profound meaning, symbolizing the fundamental elements to sustain life and happiness. A rice is a symbol of life, warmth, and abundance. Rice is an essential food in every household, symbolizing material stability and sustainable development. When there is enough rice in the house, it is a sign of a fulfilling life, without any shortages. Or as mentioned earlier, salt not only has physical value in protection and purification, but also symbolizes protection and strong spirit. Salt helps protect the family from bad things, maintaining purity and tranquility for the spirit. In many Eastern cultures, salt is also a symbol of sustainability and family affection. Water is an essential element for sustaining life. Water in Eastern culture symbolizes flexibility, softness, but also strength and endless vitality. Water is the image of purity and harmony, capable of extinguishing suffering and alleviating the stresses of life. It also represents harmony and flexibility in life, not rigid, but able to adapt and sustain life in all conditions. When we talk about enough rice, enough salt, enough water, we are referring to a life that is abundant both materially and spiritually, where these basic elements are not lacking, helping people live peacefully and happily. This also reminds us to appreciate the simple yet important things in life, and how to maintain balance and harmony in all aspects. We are very grateful to you for listening and accompanying us throughout this journey. We hope that the shared insights have brought you more understanding and peace in life. Wishing you always peace of body and mind, complete happiness, and good luck in all the challenges ahead.